Hi everyone, I'm Viktoria Ruubel, the new Director of Developer Partnerships and Programs here in Europe, Middle East and Africa. I'm excited to be coming to you from Facebook London office, where I'm joined by Netta Meitaf, the co-founder and CEO of Vault platform, and Breanna Yen. She's the co-founder and CDO at Curvestone. Tech by Her is a Facebook initiative to celebrate and support women in our developer and startup communities and across the tech ecosystem more broadly. As part of this initiative, today we will be discussing career paths for women in tech, the pursuit of equality, and how we all have a responsibility to be an ally. I'm very passionate about this topic. I have been in the industry myself for over 20 years, and in that time, I've been part of 3 startups, one of which I founded. I have experienced the challenges that come with being a female founder and how important it is that we address diversity across the industry. So, welcome Netta, welcome Breanna. Can you please introduce yourself and your companies?
I'm Breanna and I'm the co-founder of Curvestone, and we are an AI and automation consultancy based here in London and New York. And our clients are typically anything from a startup all the way up to corporates, and we help them solve problems by leveraging machine learning. So this could be anything from building a proof of concept to validate a piece of technology, all the way through to building a fully fledged digital product.
Amazing.
So I'm Netta, I'm the co-founder and CEO of Vault platform. Vault is a speak-up platform for the workplace. So essentially it's an app and a corporate platform which allows employees to report and surface any issues such as corporate or behavioral misconduct. So issues that range from sexual harassment to bullying, discrimination, and corporate and financial fraud.
Amazing. Thank you both for the introductions. Netta, it's an amazing company, the Vault platform, and it really addresses a very, very important issue in the industry. What was the journey of founding the Vault platforms? How did you come up with the idea, and what kind of challenges you experienced when you started off with your company?
Sure. So the journey of Vault was very much based on a personal experience or a personal pain. I never expected to become an entrepreneur. I had a really wonderful career in the British government. And one day, in the earliest days of the Me Too campaign, so just over 2 years ago, I was sitting down with my husband for dinner, and the stories that went in the background on our TV raised some memories of a time that it happened to me. And I was 22 in a graduate dream job. And when it happened to me, I did not report it. Instead, I left. That was my only viable option, really. And looking back at this, we realized that the world of work and the way that it is set up is makes it very, very difficult for people to speak up and raise these issues when they happen. So there is a real deficit of trust that has been revealed in the world. We try to look at what are the existing solutions. And we realized that kind of a combination of a hotline and an email address really doesn't provide a real solution for people who wish to come forward. And so we thought what technology can do in this space. And that gave birth to the idea of Vault, which is today the world's most sophisticated and innovative misconduct reporting app for employees.
Impressive. Thank you for sharing that story. Breanna, you're running the Curvestone, you're the co-founder at Curvestone. So what is your experience and what are the challenges you have in running the team and the company?
Yeah, so I mean, my journey started sort of 10 years ago, where I worked in startups. And basically, I started out in the sort of baby product industry and then moved on into education technology, where I met my co-founders. And we set up the company about 2.5 years ago now. I mean, the biggest challenge so far has been obviously ensuring that everyone that I work alongside or with has a voice. And so obviously, you know, coming with the title of founder, I get a lot of opportunity and privilege, especially in those client meetings, for example, or, you know, from the network that I get exposed to. And so I know that I work with incredible people. So my greatest challenge that I, you know, still face today is ensuring that the great people that I work with obviously get an opportunity to have their say, whether that's in strategic meetings or whether they're with a client. So a few of the techniques that we've used so far have been, you know, obviously being hyper aware in meetings if someone hasn't said something, to obviously ask for their thoughts. And obviously, if they haven't processed it properly, then they can have the space and opportunity to send it through to us later. And also in client meetings, for example, we don't introduce ourselves by title. We introduce ourselves for, you know, what we're responsible for on a project, so that those questions are directed at the right people and not just at me because I'm a founder or either of my co-founders. So those are kind of the interesting challenges that we're facing at the moment.
You're, as the female leaders, the co-founders and CEOs of the companies, have you faced prejudice or challenges of being a female leader, and how you overcame those challenges if you faced those?
I might approach this question from a fundraising point of view. For majority of startups and founders, funding is something that they need to go through at this point or another, and usually it's an ongoing effort and process. I think the world has moved significantly, and in the space of giving attention to female founders and understanding there is a huge gap. It's only a very small percentage of businesses that do get funded by the venture capital community that are led by females. And I think there is already a lot that is being done to really move the needle there. I did find some difficulties from the perspective of being a female founder, not because the rooms are always dominated by men. Yes, on most cases they are. We are actually very fortunate to be funded by incredible men investors, as well as a fund that is completely focused on female-led startups. It was more about seeing how the system really works better for men than it is for women. So I'll give an example. It's known that there are investors who will not invest in first-time entrepreneurs, or they would give some sort of a kind of a preferred, they will consider the business proposition more favorably, or discount certain elements of concern if the founder is a second-time founder or a second-time entrepreneur. Now, the chances that already, it's a woman who leads this business are small as they are. The chances that she's a second-timer are starting to be close to zero. So with that frame of mind of investing, I think it would be very, very difficult to actually support female founders. So that is one thing that I found time and again with certain investors who were more minded to back second-timers. I believe that this new thinking should be also implemented at the procurement stage. If a company is resistant to innovation, it will decide to go for more established companies and would really resist to any new innovation or technology coming through. It would again be difficult for female-led businesses to win the case. So I believe that as part of those efforts thinking about diversity and inclusion, companies should not only think about their talent, but also think about their procurement, should also think about, ask themselves simple questions like how many female-led technologies have we implemented or came into contract with this year, and that could be the next big thing that would really move the needle for women in the space.
it's a great advice. So thank you for sharing that. It's exactly not about the VC and the funding and being the female founder. It's actually opening the doors to the companies that are led by women. And it is the responsibility of the companies as well. It's great. Breanna, what about you? What kind of challenges you have experienced and how you are overcoming those?
Yeah, so I mean, we were discussing sort of prejudice. I feel as though, you know, first of all, we're all guilty of it. I feel, you know, we meet people every day and prejudge them. And so there's something to be learnt on keeping an open mind, be willing to be proved wrong, be reflective, learn more about yourself through those, you know, moments. And I mean, for me personally, I mean, I've been prejudged on, you know, from aside from gender, it being sort of age, how I look, to, you know, me, how I dress, for example. And in terms of how I get through it, I have two incredibly supportive founders who I work alongside. And I mean, throughout this journey, they've been incredibly supportive. They'll step in those moments, and it makes it much easier being a female founder with two strong male founders alongside me.
Yeah. So you already mentioned, it sounds like your co-founders, they're your allies and helping you to go through the challenges if you face them. Where else you get your support from when you face those challenges?
I'm also really lucky. I have a great circle of friends who I've built up throughout my life, as well as a really supportive partner as well, who I can vent to and gain a perspective from. I mean, when it comes to my circle of friends, a lot of them actually don't work in technology, which I think gives you that extra perspective that you may not have from, you know, my technology network, as it were. So there's always something to gain. It may be an approach, or it could possibly be, you know, a way of solving something. So I think when it comes to my friends and my family, for example, they have been an incredible support to me, and interesting perspective that they give me. I also have two co-founders, as I mentioned, who are my biggest sort of supporters, and obviously biggest fans, and I'm their biggest fans, as they already know. And then aside from that, I mean, I'm part of the EY Winning Women's program, and they introduced me to an incredible sort of female mentor who has been just such a huge support to me. I mean, her listening skills and her proactivity and her problem solving, it has been so inspiring, and it's helped sort of shift me into another paradigm, as it were, because essentially I'm just so much more confident in my abilities, and that's sort of thanks to her. And then, of course, as I've just mentioned, over the sort of past 10 years of working in startups, I've built this great sort of network of fellow founders. So we all go through similar ups and downs. And so I think it's a great learning that you don't have to figure it all out or, you know, reinvent the wheel. Someone else may have already gone through it, so you can learn from their mistakes or learn from their experience. So yeah, I think I've got a sort of great, well-rounded network when it comes to support.
And in addition to running a successful company, a successful startup, you're also running Developer Circle program. So can you tell us a bit more about the program you're running?
Yes. So Facebook Developer Circles is a great program. It's an opportunity for people to learn from each other, learn from the best. It's not just for developers. It's for people who work in product or may be interested in working in digital product. And so, I mean, we held our first event in May 2019, and we're now a network of over 1,000 people. I mean, the types of events that we've run so far have been quite sort of AI focused, just because it's a passion of mine and a passion of my co-leads. We do believe that you only sort of put on events that are you know, awesome because it's something that, you know, you feel passionate about. So of course that event's going to be great. But we also do events on, you know, how to pass a coding interview, for example, which is very practical. The history of VR, which was a really sort of interactive session. And the next event that we're planning is actually around, well, at least a series of events are going to be around AI ethics.
So we're all looking forward to joining the event on Monday. So good luck with that one. But you both also were part of the London Accelerator Lab or Accelerator. So can you share how you joined London Accelerator and what it meant for you in terms of like personal impact and the professional impact?
it's been really transformational for us because we entered into the program at a very early stage of our company. We were 5 people, so 2 co-founders and a very small product and development team. And essentially, when you're at that stage of a company, it's quite clear that you don't have all the skills. You have, in the team, you actually have huge gaps, and that's exactly where the program found us. We had major gaps in we lacked the DNA of enterprise sales, for example. We did not have marketing in place. And as a founder and CEO, I took on all of those things myself, but without any prior experience. I was basically learning on the go, and it is a very steep learning curve when you're not coming from those ranks. So the program where we found it to be really useful is the fact that it looked at every startup individually, and whilst it managed to create a really great common content for everyone to attend master classes on different topics and bring the best of the best from within here in Facebook to share experiences and teach, really, and that was really great. But at the same time, the folks that ran the Facebook Accelerator program looked at every startup as within the individual set of requirements, the singular set of requirements and needs and gaps that they have, and did their best to really fill in with tailoring the mentorship to those needs. So for us, we really gained from the fact that we had Workplace by Facebook literally within the same building. So they found the best talent there to train us on how to sell to big corporates and how to market to large businesses, and it was truly transformational for us.
Breanna?
The London Accelerator was an incredible experience from a business perspective. I mean, similar to Netta at the time, we were still growing we're still growing today, but we were a smaller business than we were. And so to bring our team into the Accelerator was an incredible experience for them. We were focused on the machine learning side of things and setting up the foundations for our team. And so we got introduced to some great talent at Facebook who helped us, set up that foundation for that team. And as well as, from a personal perspective, it opened so many doors. I got introduced to VCs here in the UK, as well as being invited to the F8 conference last year in San Francisco, where we met some incredible VCs from the US, who actually I remain friends with today. I often do work in New York, and so we'll go for lunches, and they check in on us. And so, in terms of network, it's been incredible. We created some great friendships with the rest of the cohort. We were able to sort of share experiences with each other. Everyone was at a different stage of their business, whether they're just starting out or, you're a bit more established. So you had a full range of people to speak to and share experiences with. It was an incredible experience for myself and my founders and my team. So it was great to be involved.
To end today, I would like to ask one final question. There are many women who are thinking of or aspiring to found their company or become a developer. What piece of advice you would give to them?
From my end, I think it's important to recognize when you enter into a very male-dominant environment, which you will do if you're, thinking of becoming a developer, or if you're thinking of founding your own startup. The most important thing is to understand that there is a paradigm shift that we're going through right now, and we all have a role to play in it. And whilst you might be pressured to prove to anyone or to, you know, to the people around you that you can lead like a man, you don't need to lead like a man. You need to lead like yourself. And if leading like yourself means to lead like a woman, or it means just to really be connected to who you are, that's your opportunity to shine, and you don't need to be someone you're not. And our chance of winning this is to really just be authentic and show the world how things can be done differently. And I've experienced that on, you know, I had several junctions in my journey where I was expected to demonstrate a certain behavior or to make a certain decision. And after some reflection, I actually decided not to, because it didn't pay off in the past. So really just lead as you'd like to lead. You know best.
Breanna?
My advice, firstly, to female developers would be to go for it. There are teams like mine, companies like mine looking for you. I mean, we are trying to build the digital products of the future, and without well-rounded teams, we can't do that. So, I mean, number one, just go for it. We need more people like you, and we need, you know, your perspective and your outlook in order to build those products. My advice to anyone who's you know, aspiring to be a founder, my sort of first piece of advice would be obviously to choose a area that you're super passionate about, that you have a lot of energy for, because you're going to rip that, you know, rip that apart and that problem area apart. You're going to be, you know, living inside the head of that user. You're going to be, you know, pivoting within that problem area a lot. So it has to be something that you have energy for, because you're going to experience, of course, all of the highs, but a lot of challenges. So if you don't have energy or passion for what you do or why you're doing it, I think it would be really tough. And then I guess my second piece of advice would be, which kind of echoes throughout this interview, I suppose, is to have or build a really supportive, incredible team. I mean, it would be so tough to do what we're doing without amazing teams. And so these are the people you spend, you know, more time than you do your own family. I mean, see, different in Netta's case.
No, not different.
Yeah, or in my case, I mean, as well, they've become my family. So essentially, building that strong team is so important. They're the people you're going to soundboard off, you're going to learn from. I heard a really great saying of, you know, you're the average of your 5 closest people. So these are the people that are closest to you. So you better build, you know, an incredible team around you in order to get you through those sort of tough times and to celebrate the great times with as well.
So, Netta, Breanna, thank you so much for coming today. It was very inspirational. I've learned a lot from you. Thank you for sharing the experiences. Thank you for sharing the stories. And happy International Women's Day.
Happy International Women's Day.
Happy International Women's Day. Thank you so much for having us.